Hollywood crafts illusions for a living. It presents us with heroes, sweethearts, and lovable father figures, actors who seem as warm and wonderful as the characters they play. We fall in love with their on-screen personas, believing them to be a reflection of the real person behind the role. But what happens when the mask slips? What happens when we discover that the person we adored on screen was living a secret life steeped in darkness, violence, and depravity? Tonight, we journey into the shadows of the silver screen. We will uncover the unsettling truths about the stars we thought we knew, revealing the disturbing reality that was hidden just beneath the surface of their beloved public image. This is the story of 23 beloved Hollywood actors who had disturbingly dark, real lives. Bill Cosby. For decades, Bill Cosby wasn't just an actor. He was America's dad. As the warm, wise, and funny Cliff Huxtable on The Cosby Show, he represented the ideal father figure. He built an empire on a foundation of family values and wholesome comedy. The reality, however, was a monstrous inversion of his public image. The dark truth that eventually came to light was that Cosby was a serial sexual predator. Over 60 women came forward with harrowing, strikingly similar stories of being drugged and sexually assaulted by him, spanning from the 1960s to the 2000s. The wholesome dad was, in reality, a calculated predator who allegedly used his power and trusted persona to incapacitate and violate women. His eventual conviction for aggravated indecent assault shattered his legacy, revealing one of the most disturbing and deeply hidden dark lives in Hollywood history. Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg has cultivated an image as a devout family man and a hard-working, affable movie star. His journey from the Funky Bunch to respected actor seems like a story of redemption. But the reality of his teenage years is far darker than most of his fans realize. Before he was famous, Wahlberg had a disturbing and violent criminal history fueled by racism. By age 16, he had been served with a civil rights injunction for throwing rocks at a group of mostly black fourth graders. The darkest incident occurred in 1988, when, in a single day, he attacked 2 Vietnamese men. He knocked one unconscious with a large wooden stick while yelling racial slurs, and later punched another man in the face. He was charged with attempted murder and ultimately convicted of assault. This violent, hate-fueled past is a disturbing secret behind the charming movie star persona. Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle. In the silent film era, Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle was second only to Charlie Chaplin in popularity. He was a pioneer of slapstick comedy, a beloved, jovial figure. His career and legacy were destroyed by one of Hollywood's first and most sensational scandals. In 1921, during a party in his hotel suite, a young actress named Virginia Rappy fell gravely ill and died 4 days later. Arbuckle was accused of raping and accidentally killing her. The media frenzy was unprecedented, painting the beloved comedian as a depraved monster. He was tried 3 times for manslaughter, and while he was ultimately acquitted, with the final jury even issuing a written apology for the injustice he faced, the damage was done. The scandal was so dark and sordid that he was blacklisted from the industry. The man who made the world laugh vanished, his name forever linked to a dark and tragic mystery. Christian Slater. Christian Slater rose to fame in the late 80s and 90s as the ultimate cool, rebellious heartthrob in films like Heathers and True Romance. But his real-life behavior often mirrored the chaos of his characters, with a dark, violent streak fueled by substance abuse. His rap sheet is extensive and disturbing. In 1989, he was arrested for drunk driving and assault. The most infamous incident occurred in 1997, when, during a drug-fueled party, he assaulted his then-girlfriend and bit a man who tried to intervene. When police arrived, he fought with them, reportedly screaming, "The Germans are coming." He was charged with multiple counts of assault and battery and served 59 days in jail. His charming on-screen rebellion was a pale imitation of a much darker, more violent reality. Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick is beloved for his boyish charm, forever immortalized as the clever and harmless high school student in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. His public image is that of a gentle, non-threatening, and likable everyman. This makes the dark, tragic secret of his past all the more shocking. In 1987, while vacationing in Northern Ireland with his then-girlfriend Jennifer Grey, Broderick was involved in a horrific car accident. He was driving on the wrong side of the road when he collided head-on with another vehicle. Both the driver and the passenger of the other car, a mother and her daughter, were killed instantly. Broderick was seriously injured but survived. He was initially charged with causing death by dangerous driving, but was convicted of the lesser charge of careless driving and fined just $175. The beloved actor was responsible for the deaths of 2 people, a disturbing and tragic reality that is rarely discussed. Robert Blake. Robert Blake had a long and celebrated career, starting as a child star and later earning an Emmy for his role as the tough-talking detective in the 70s TV show Baretta. The lines between his characters and his real life blurred in the most disturbing way possible in 2001. His second wife, Bonnie Lee Backley, was found shot to death in their car outside a restaurant where they had just dined. Blake claimed he had left her to retrieve a handgun he had accidentally left behind. He was arrested and charged with her murder. The ensuing trial was a media circus. Although he was acquitted in the criminal trial, a civil court later found him liable for her wrongful death and ordered him to pay millions. The beloved TV cop became the prime suspect in a real-life murder mystery. His career and reputation destroyed. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was arguably the world's first global superstar. As the Tramp, he was a symbol of hope and humor. But his personal life was disturbingly dark, particularly his relationships with women. Chaplin had a well-documented and predatory attraction to extremely young girls. His first 2 wives were both just 16 years old when he married them. His fourth and final wife, Una O'Neill, was 18 when the 54-year-old Chaplin married her. Beyond his marriages, he faced numerous paternity suits and allegations of abusive and controlling behavior. The lovable tramp who captured the world's heart had a disturbing, predatory pattern that stands in chilling contrast to his on-screen innocence. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was the original swashbuckling hero of Hollywood's golden age. In films like The Adventures of Robin Hood, he was the dashing, charming rogue. The reality, however, was much darker and more criminal. In 1942, at the height of his fame, Flynn was charged with the statutory rape of 2 underage girls. The trial was a massive scandal, but thanks to a high-powered legal team that mercilessly attacked the victims' characters, he was acquitted. Despite the acquittal, the phrase, "in like Flynn," was rumored to have originated from the scandal, referencing his apparent ability to get away with anything. The heroic adventurer on screen had a disturbingly predatory dark side that the studio system helped to conceal. Johnny Depp. For decades, Johnny Depp has been one of Hollywood's most beloved eccentrics. From Captain Jack Sparrow to Edward Scissorhands, he cultivated an image as a gentle, artistic soul. That image was shattered during his high-profile legal battles with his ex-wife, Amber Heard. The trials in both the UK and the US revealed a deeply disturbing and volatile private life. Testimony and audio recordings painted a picture of a relationship fueled by monumental substance abuse, rage, and mutual allegations of horrific domestic violence. Regardless of which side one believed, the evidence presented, including violent text messages and stories of terrifying arguments, exposed a dark, chaotic, and turbulent reality that was completely at odds with the gentle bohemian artist he was known as. Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller quickly became a fan favorite for their charismatic performances as the Flash in the DC Extended Universe. They were seen as a quirky and progressive new kind of movie star. Beginning in 2020, however, their public image imploded under the weight of a series of bizarre and deeply disturbing controversies. The incidents included a video that appeared to show them choking a woman in Iceland, multiple arrests in Hawaii for disorderly conduct and assault, and allegations of grooming and manipulating a young activist. The accumulation of these dark and erratic events painted a picture of a deeply troubled individual, a stark contrast to the heroic speedster they played on screen. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando is widely considered one of the greatest actors of all time, a revolutionary force who changed acting forever. His personal life, however, was a vortex of tragedy and darkness. The darkest chapter involved his children. In 1990, his son, Christian, shot and killed the boyfriend of his half-sister, Cheyenne, at Brando's own estate. During the trial, Cheyenne, a key witness, struggled with severe mental illness and later took her own life. Brando's testimony was a portrait of a broken man presiding over a family destroyed by violence and mental illness. A grim reality far from the powerful, in-control figures he so famously portrayed. Woody Allen. For decades, Woody Allen was celebrated as one of America's most brilliant filmmakers, known for his witty, neurotic, and charming on-screen persona. This image was permanently shattered by a dark and enduring scandal within his own family. In 1992, allegations emerged that he had sexually abused his 7-year-old adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow. While he was never criminally charged, the accusations have been publicly and consistently maintained by Dylan. The situation was made even more disturbing when it was revealed that Allen had been having an affair with Mia Farrow's adopted daughter, Soon-Yi Previn. Allen later married Soon-Yi. The intertwined allegations of abuse and the relationship with his de facto stepdaughter created a dark cloud that has hung over his career ever since. Sean Penn. Sean Penn is known for his intense, powerful, and Oscar-winning performances. His dark side, however, is a well-documented history of violent and abusive behavior. His tumultuous marriage to Madonna in the 1980s was plagued by his violent outbursts. The most notorious incident occurred in 1987, when he was charged with felony domestic assault after allegedly striking her with a baseball bat. While Madonna later withdrew the charges, the reports were harrowing. This was not an isolated event. Penn has a long history of assaulting paparazzi and has served jail time for his violent temper. The respected actor has a disturbing, real-life history of rage and violence. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is one of the most successful comedians in the world. His brand is built on being a relatable, energetic, and lovable family man. This carefully crafted image was seriously compromised by a dark scandal in 2017. Hart was the victim of an extortion attempt involving a sexually suggestive video of him with another woman. He was forced to publicly apologize to his then pregnant wife and his family for his infidelity. While he framed it as a mistake, the incident shattered his clean family man persona. It revealed a secret life of infidelity and betrayal that stood in stark contrast to the wholesome husband and father he presented to the world. Lea Michele. As the ambitious Rachel Berry on the hit show Glee, Lea Michele became a role model for aspiring performers. After the show ended, a disturbingly different picture emerged. In 2020, her former Glee co-star, Samantha Ware, responded to a tweet by accusing her of making her life a living hell on set, including threatening to defecate in her wig. This opened the floodgates. Numerous other co-stars came forward with stories alleging that Michelle was a nightmare to work with, describing her as being cruel, entitled, and engaging in racist microaggressions. The beloved star of a show about inclusivity was revealed to have a dark, alleged history of being a toxic bully. James Caan. James Caan was the epitome of tough guy cool. Most famous for his Oscar-nominated role as the hot-headed Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. His real life, for a time, was disturbingly similar. Caan battled a severe cocaine addiction for years, which contributed to his erratic behavior. More disturbing were his long-rumored, though never proven, connections to organized crime figures. His life was shadowed by real-world violence, addiction, and mob connections, a world not so different from the one his most famous character inhabited. Mel Gibson. For years, Mel Gibson was one of the world's most beloved movie stars. From Mad Max to Braveheart, he was the charismatic, heroic leading man. This image was utterly demolished by a series of scandals that revealed a disturbingly dark and hateful side. In 2006, during a DUI arrest, he unleashed a vile, anti-Semitic tirade. A few years later, his downfall was cemented when horrifying audio recordings were leaked, in which he could be heard screaming racist and misogynistic threats at his then-girlfriend. The tapes were shocking in their brutality. The charming hero from the screen was revealed to be a man filled with rage and prejudice, a disturbing and permanent stain on his career. James Franco. James Franco cultivated an image as the ultimate Hollywood Renaissance man, an actor, director, writer, and artist. But behind this intellectual persona, a darker pattern of behavior was emerging. In 2018, an exposé by the Los Angeles Times detailed numerous allegations of sexually inappropriate and exploitative behavior from his former acting students. The women accused him of pressuring them into performing in explicit scenes, often in the context of his acting school. He later settled a lawsuit with two of the women and admitted to sleeping with students, acknowledging it was wrong. The beloved, quirky artist was revealed to have a disturbing history of allegedly abusing his power as a teacher and mentor. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf's transition from the lovable kid on Disney's Even Stevens to a troubled artist has been public and chaotic. For a long time, his erratic behavior was framed as eccentric performance art. But that narrative collapsed under the weight of serious and disturbing allegations. In 2020, his former girlfriend, the musician FKA Twigs, filed a lawsuit against him, accusing him of a relentless pattern of physical, emotional, and mental abuse, including sexual battery, assault, and knowingly giving her a sexually transmitted disease. Her detailed and harrowing account painted a picture not of a misunderstood artist, but of a dangerous and abusive man. Danny Masterson. For years, Danny Masterson was known as the cool, sarcastic Hyde on the nostalgic sitcom That 70s Show. Throughout his career, however, dark rumors of sexual assault followed him, often connected to his high-ranking position within the Church of Scientology. The disturbing reality finally came to light when multiple women came forward to accuse him of forcibly raping them in the early 2000s, alleging the church had intimidated them into silence for decades. In 2023, the beloved sitcom actor was convicted on 2 counts of forcible rape and sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. The funny friend from the basement hangout was, in reality, a convicted violent predator, his dark secret finally exposed in a court of law. Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer was on track to be a classic A-list movie star, admired for his good looks and prestigious films. This image was gruesomely dismantled in 2021 by a scandal that revealed a secret life of extreme and disturbing appetites. Leaked messages, allegedly from Hammer, detailed graphic and violent sexual fantasies, including a desire for cannibalism. This was soon followed by public accusations from multiple women alleging coercive and abusive relationships. The handsome movie star was hiding a deeply disturbing inner world that seemed more suited to a horror villain, leading to his complete and total disappearance from Hollywood. Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski is a critically acclaimed, Oscar-winning director, lauded for masterpieces like Chinatown and The Pianist. But his entire career has been overshadowed by a dark and unforgivable crime. In 1977, he was arrested for the drugging and rape of a 13-year-old girl. He pleaded guilty to unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. But just before he was to be sentenced, he fled the United States. He has been a fugitive from American justice ever since. Despite being a convicted sex offender and a fugitive, he has continued to work and be celebrated in Europe. The genius filmmaker's legacy is inextricably linked to the disturbing reality that he is a child predator who has never faced justice for his crime. The person on the screen is a character. The actor is a human being, and human beings are capable of great darkness, no matter how charming their smile or how beloved their movies. The stories we've examined tonight are more than just celebrity gossip. They are unsettling reminders that the wholesome, heroic, and hilarious personas crafted by the Hollywood machine can often be a deliberate and deceptive mask. They conceal histories of violence, abuse, addiction, and predation. It forces us to ask a difficult question. Can we ever truly separate the art from the artist? Especially when the artist's reality is so disturbingly dark.